Good morning, Rovers. Another great day here at Rover's Rest, and it's one of those days where you wake up, you hear the birds singing, the sun is shining, and you can't help but just bounce out of bed and get out to the garden. Now, on top of that, yesterday was really raining. We got a lot of rain. The rain barrels are full, and it was really windy. Now we still have a bit of wind, but I did get the building wraps that were down covering the no-till garden. I got those up. What's underneath, it's pretty good, and I'm going to show you that right away. And then we're going to get the proper landscaping fabric, which we were able to source, and we'll get that down. And yeah, the garden has to get underway. Things are moving. Anyway, I've got a lot to do. I better crack on. But first, Mrs. Rover has alerted me that the swallows have arrived. Now, these are tree swallows, and we built nest boxes for them years ago at our last homestead. I kept one as a model, and I've got to get it up. Now, the trick to getting birds into these nest boxes is to get the dimensions right. That is, the hole size and the floor space and the depth from the hole to the bottom. All that seems to work out just fine with this design. Well, it doesn't take the little darlings long to find the nest box and to pair up. Now, you might remember from last fall that we put down a heavy layer of cardboard on the area where we wanted to garden, and then we covered that with lumber wraps. These are wraps that cover big lifts of lumber that you can get for free from the lumber yard. Now, that was a pretty heavy layer of grass that we're covering. We didn't have our mower at the time, so we didn't cut it, which would have been better. If you have an opportunity, cut the grass before you lay it down. Now you can see the area that wasn't covered by the tarps is quite a thick thatch of grass. And then you see the area that was covered, and it really has broken down that sod really well. Now, it's a bit dry and not all the cardboard broke down, but I think that was on account of the lumber wraps being really water resistant or almost waterproof. Now, the next step is to just take your fork and loosen up the soil, let some air get into it, and you'll notice that it should be just full of worms, and it is. Now, this helps everything. Roll this out to the length that we need, put a little weight on it, and then just... Now I've put down about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of manure over top of the garden, and now I'm going to cover it in the proper landscape fabric. And again, I'll put a link to this fabric in the video description if you want to get some. Okay, so we're at the length of the garden here. And then just take a knife and just eyeball that it's the same length as what we want. Okay, so using the old Mark I eyeball, you can just make a nice straight line. There we go. That's good. Okay. Good. Keep it tight there, Glenda. Okay, pull it as tight as you can. Good. Now, with Mrs. Rover's help and a blessedly windless morning, we're pulling the fabric out and we're going to lay it across the freshly manured garden. Now, You've noticed that I'm actually walking on strips of OSB because I've already determined where the pathways will be in the garden, and you really don't want to be stepping on the garden proper because you don't want to compact that soil that you took the time to fork up and loosen. I'm really happy with these staples. They're 12 inches long, they're a heavy gauge, and I've been able to reuse them from the previous fall. Now there's a link for them in the video description if you want to source them as well. Now at this point we're finished with putting the tarp down, and we're about 2 weeks out from the advisable plant out date. That's the date where we don't get any more frost. Now I've told the worms that they have got that time to break down all that manure and prepare the bed underneath the tarp for the plants, and they're going to work 24/7 to get that done. In addition, I've set up this little bit in the corner. The building wrap is down just to suppress the grass and the weeds, and the area covered in wood shavings, that's been heavily manured, and it's waiting for our tomato plants. Well, Rovers, this is a first. We are just about to plant the very first seeds ever here at Rover's Rest. Appropriately, they are snow peas, and I'll be watering them in with water from those rain barrels that I just plumbed. We've been saving and harvesting the same peas for about 10 years. We're really happy with this variety, and we soak them overnight before planting. Now, if I plant this side tomorrow, will you plant the other side?
Yes, give us a thumbs up, would you? There, perfect.
Well, a lot has been happening here at Rover's Rest, and over the next week I'm going to put out at least 2 videos because I want us to get caught up to the hen house build and of course the arrival of the hens. So Rovers, as always, thanks for watching.